Hi, my name is Zoey Roy. I'm Cree Dene Métis, a member of Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation. I am a poet, a community-based educator, and a student at York University. Over the next few videos, I'm going to share with you some knowledge and insights that I've learned about racism, and today we're going to talk about what it is. Racism can best be described as prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism that is directed at someone from a different racial background based on the belief that one's own racial background is more important. But it's also important to know that it can happen between two people from the same racial background based on the belief that another racial background is more important. It's important to know because it happens every day, in our homes, on our TVs, on social media, at school, in our textbooks, in our relationships with students and teachers, within the structure of the school. It happens in our communities and within society because it's embedded in Canada as we know it. So let's break it down. So let's try to understand prejudice. But in order to understand prejudice, it's important to break down bias. And bias basically means that a person prefers a particular idea but doesn't give an equal chance to another idea. Bias is influenced by everything that we're told and shown by people that we look up to and that we look to for guidance. Everything we know today has been picked up along the way. It doesn't make it accurate or true, but it's what we know to be true. For example, so many of us were told that boys wear blue and girls wear pink. Bias is important to understand because it helps us understand how racism functions. Now, this country is very young, and we still have so much to learn, but it's important to know that this country was built by ideas and opinions that benefit some people and burden other people. I mean, it only makes sense, right? Decisions are made by people, and people have biases. But this could be dangerous, though, and we know this because it has been. Bias is more to do with an opinion that you create about someone before you even meet them, based off of their racial identity or sexual identity or gender identity or their culture. Your bias informs you on how you approach someone. For example, who you define as sketchy or scary is highly informed by your bias. Moving on to discrimination. Discrimination is the unfair treatment of a person or a group of people. A lot of us has seen it, and a lot of us has definitely experienced it. People can discriminate against other people based off of their racial identity, their sexual identity, their gender identity, their age, their culture, or a disability. Schools and governments can also discriminate against entire groups of people. Discrimination based off of race is called racism. That's what happened with the apartheid in South Africa, and that's what happened with the residential school policy right here in Canada. There are a lot of examples of injustices that are based off of racism that has happened around the world, both historically and today. So I'm going to try to give you an example. Say I wanted a peanut butter sandwich, and the peanut butter was on the top shelf. But someone really tall wanted a peanut butter sandwich too. Someone like LeBron James. Yes, so LeBron James and I both want a peanut butter sandwich. But like I said, the peanut butter is on the top shelf. So who is going to have access to the peanut butter sandwich first? Well, LeBron is definitely going to get his peanut butter sandwich first, but what about me? We're both standing on the same ground and we're both reaching as high as we can, but because he's taller, he's going to have access first. The problem is that if LeBron James didn't like me because I was native or I was a woman, he might choose not to give me access to the peanut butter. But if he recognized that he had access and I couldn't have the same access with the same effort, he might decide to share the power of having the peanut butter with me. And that's a really weird place to be for short people like me. But that's how equity works. So in a country that values diversity, we gotta make sure that everyone can have access to a peanut butter sandwich. It doesn't mean that everyone is going to have a peanut butter sandwich, but at least if they want to, they can have one. And finally, antagonism. But let's break down antagonist first. It's in every one of our favorite movies where there is an opponent, someone who is against the main character and who causes problems for the main character. Antagonism is basically that, someone who is against you. It's active, it's angry, it's bullying. The problem is racism is normalized within this country, and that's why so many people don't budge when there are wrongdoings or injustices happening right here. That's why it's so important for movements like the Black Lives Matter movement or the I Don't Know More movement to be mobilized and active. And yes, these movements are mobilizing the masses. And yes, they are super important. And so is every single step that we can take towards exposing bias, prejudice, discrimination, or racism. We are all a part of each other's stories, but in our own story, we are the protagonist. And to be the protagonist means to take the lead. That's where you come in. This video was created for a school audience and is a part of the Commonweal Community Arts Respond to Racism program. There's an activity sheet that goes with this video that you can take some time to do as a class or on your own, and then join me for video 2 of this 4-part series that I'm calling The Roles of Racism. Bye for now.